What's going on, guys? It's Unchained here. I wanted to make a video talking about my impressions of Outlast on the PS4. If you're a PSN Plus member, you actually get to download it for free. Otherwise, it's a $20 download, so you're getting a lot for the money. Now, PSN is a pretty good service. If anything, it's way better than Xbox Live. Essentially, games cycle through on the network, and you'll get new games every month, and then they'll eventually go off sale, and then they go back to their regular digital pricing. So you got to get them when they're free. PS4 obviously has had its little drought after its launch, just like the Xbox One. But Outlast is the first game that I've played on it probably since NAC. So I haven't really done anything on the PS4 in a couple of months, besides like some casual multiplayer or indie gaming, which they have had some good ones of those, such as, Don't Starve, and you could still go back to Resogun, or what the hell was that other game? Contrast. There's a bunch on there right now. Flower I've been working on. Anyway, let's talk about Outlast for a minute. The last time I've ever been this scared was probably when the 360 came out, that one of the launch games was Condemned Criminal Origins. It was such a scary game. Even though you had melee weapons and you actually could defend yourself, it was done in such a way that you always felt vulnerable. Like, you felt like if somebody came after you, you were going to be killed in a few hits. You never felt safe. And it was one of those games where it's like, you're standing in a lit room and you look out into the darkness and you're like, oh shit, I don't want to advance. That feeling of, oh god, I don't want to continue. I haven't had that in a long time. Dead Space was another game that came out a couple years after. Actually, might have even been maybe 4 or 5 years after. I gotta check the dates. But Dead Space was the next one that I started to really like. And naturally, Dead Space 2 became more and more of an action game. And then when Dead Space 3 came out, it was pretty much a third-person shooter with with horror elements. An action game with horror elements, essentially. They've been doing that a lot lately. It's one of the more recent trends of gaming. A lot of developers, I would assume, don't put out horror games because they don't sell well. It's got a very niche audience to it. Not many people play them. And they don't generally have multiplayer. I know Condemned 2 Bloodshot, which, by the way, wasn't anywhere near as scary as the original. That had some tacked-on multiplayer, but it's like, who the hell's going to play that? I mean, I guess if you finish the campaign and you're really bored, why the hell not? But it wouldn't last you longer than an afternoon or so. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, this is the biggest horror game that I would say is amazing. It's the biggest one that's been out on consoles in years. Would I recommend getting it? Absolutely. Now, why do I like it? You basically play as a detective. He's investigating a Colorado asylum. And the biggest part about this that's so important is you're not fighting ghosts, beasts, aliens, creatures of any kind. I mean, there's some talk of the paranormal in the game, but you're pretty much being stalked by criminals, just like Condemned Criminal Origins, just like the title. But what's so scary about criminals is the fact that they exist in our world. People get killed every day. These people are crazy, and it's part of our everyday lives. It's one of the things that we have to deal with. And you're never really safe in life, and you sure as hell aren't safe in this game. Now, it's weird because you can't attack in this game. You essentially just have a camera with night vision. It holds up to 5 batteries tops, and it only lasts for about 2 minutes on a charge, so you can't abuse it. And this is a dark game, so you need to make sure that you, run between light sources. Now, it's got its fair share of problems. Like, the enemy AI is kind of weird. The animations aren't as fluid as I would like them to be. For such a realistic game, it's always disappointing when you see the enemy's legs kind of float as if they're being, dragged by a marionette. It doesn't really seem like their feet are hitting the ground sometimes, and it kind of takes away from the experience. But let me tell you, when the game gets it right, it gets it right. With the ambient music, the crazy atmosphere, and the tense sound effects overall. Your character breathing is probably some of the scariest sounds I've ever heard in a game. When you run and hide from people, and trust me, you have to do that a lot. There's a lot of sections in the game that actually force you to, pull levers or turn valves, and there's enemies around. And one problem I have, they don't really explain much. They don't tell you how the AI detects you. Like, for example, if you walk, and let me tell you, you walk slow as shit in this game when you're not holding the run button. You really, barely walk at all. and they hear you as if you're like stomping the ground. So you need to hit circle to crouch and take it really slow. So you gotta kind of sneak around them. Now, it almost makes it sound like a stealth game, like you're stalking them from a hiding spot. But it's not like that, because essentially they're trying to kill you and you're trying to get around them. And let me tell you, when you are running from them and you have to run through a door and slam it shut behind them, it's scary, because you gotta turn around quick and they're right in your fucking face, and it really gives you that tension. And just the atmosphere and combining all that, it just creates a really good game. Now, I'm about halfway through it. I heard it's about a 6-hour experience, but hell, I got it for free and I'm willing to keep on playing it. So, I might show some footage of it at some point. I've heard the HDMI pass-through on the Xbox One has some lag, so, I mean, I may test it. I actually haven't even tried it yet. I've never plugged anything into that port yet. Hopefully it works. But, yeah, maybe I'll show you guys some footage of the game. It's easily the scariest game that I've played in a long time, and it's definitely worth a try if you're a horror fan or just looking to shit your pants. Definitely pick that one up.